All right, guys, it's going to be a quick video on three things I want you to focus on if you're trying to grow muscle mass. If you've hit a plateau, you're struggling to grow, and you don't know what to do, I'm going to break it down really, really simply so you know exactly what you need to do to break that plateau and just get back to it and just start growing really, really fucking quick. Number one comes down to training intensity. So this is in order of importance. Every single aspect is needed. However, I want you to first look at your training intensity. Audit this first. And if you aren't growing muscle, you need to look at this first. The reason why is because in order to grow muscle in the first place, you must stimulate enough growth in the gym. And the only way to do that is by training really fucking hard. The way to do this is to take every single last set you do of every exercise and take it to failure. Not even to failure, but past failure. And the way you do this is pretty simple. Drop set nearly everything. So let's say we're doing a set of chest press, incline dumbbell chest press. Let's say we pick up the 40s for 10 and we really, really push it. We've got no spotter and we get that 10th rep and we've pushed the limits. We can't do another one. Like we physically can't do another one. Take a breather, 10 seconds, go again with the same weight. Try and get another 3 reps. You'll find that you'll probably be able to squeeze out another two. After that, drop it to around 30, go again, 20. Once you've done that, you've really pushed the limits. You've stimulated enough growth. Do you see how that's so much better than just training normally and hitting your 12 reps and then moving on to the next exercise? No, we want to leave no stone unturned. Make sure you're training so hard, leave no doubt, and really push your limits. Now, you can take this a step further by training with an actual partner. So let's say we are doing an incline press. The training partner would help you in the sense that they'd be able to push your elbows up and get those extra reps in. Now, it doesn't sound like a massive difference, but those extra reps, it might be 2 or 3 more assisted, really, really push you past failure. And if you can do that consistently, you do that week in, week out, and you start to do that, you'll notice that your numbers start to go up. If you start to tracking this, your numbers will go up consistently. And if that is the case, then your training intensity is good and you'll find it very easy to get stronger. And if you can get stronger, well, you're going to grow more muscle. It's that simple. So make sure that your training intensity is there. I think a mistake that we all make, and I used to make, was looking at my calories as the reason for not growing enough muscle. So a lot of people will see a plateau and not be happy with their results and increase their calories as a result. But if you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that there's only a 500 surplus that will really start to influence growth. After that, we're just gaining fat. So the mistake is adding on loads of calories, expecting more results. You'll gain weight, but you'll just gain fat. That's not going to speak to your muscle growth. What is going to do that is your training intensity. So focus on those drop sets, really pushing the limits. And like I said, leaving no stone unturned. Eliminate any doubt that you haven't gone to failure. And the way you do this is just by simply drop setting and going fucking hard. After you've got that down, so say your training intensity is perfect, we then move on to the calorie surplus. So you can grow muscle in whatever state you are. However, it's significantly easier once in a calorie surplus. And like I said, 300 to 500 is the magic number. We need around 250 calories on top of our maintenance level to grow extra muscle. It's what your body needs to provide growth to the body. So we go for 300 to 500 because not everyone is going to be accurate with their tracking. And we're going to make a few mistakes. We're also going to burn extra calories through walking, through maybe doing a bit of sport or whatever it is. So a nice overestimate is 300 to 500. I say start on 300, monitor, and then go to 500 as a maximum. Like I said, that's the maximum you can use for growth. Your body doesn't know how to use the extra calories. So all it does is store it as fat. It's a big mistake everyone makes. And the problem with that, like I always talk about, is you will gain loads of fat and then you will spend time in a cutting phase where you will have to lose that fat and you will have to spend significantly more in that cutting phase, which means it will take you longer to grow muscle because, as we've established, the best way to grow muscle is in a surplus. So you're much better to do this slowly, stick with a low surplus and stay in that, and you'll grow more muscle quicker. You will gain a little bit of fat because it's inevitable, but you will gain significantly less if you keep the surplus fairly strict. And as a result, your cutting phase will only be 1 to 2 months and you'll have significant muscle mass, which means once you do a dieting phase for 1 to 2 months, you will have a lot of muscle to show and you will look very fucking shredded. It's the best way to do things. It's the quickest way. It's not the most fun way because you always want to increase the calories because you see all these bodybuilders eating 5,000. It's not the right way. So provide your body with the fuel for muscle growth to take place. If you're not doing this, so if your training intensity is great, but you're still not seeing results, it's probably because you're not in a surplus. You can do it in a deficit. Don't get me wrong. If the numbers keep going up every single week and you're getting stronger, you will grow muscle. However, it is significantly easier when in a surplus, because once you're in a deficit, you're relying on fat cells and fat for the calories, and our bodies aren't great at doing this. Otherwise, we'd be just turning fat into muscle. However, it is possible. It's just a little bit harder. So ideally, you want to get yourself into a position where you're pretty lean, and then once you've got to that, you want to enter a small surplus, and that's what's really going to really drive your growth. So I'd always recommend, where possible, to be in a small surplus, as you'd always gain consistent muscle. So that's number one. And number two, training intensity. Make sure that you're training it bang on. If you're training hard enough, you'll stimulate enough growth. If you eat well enough, you will then provide your body with enough fuel. So we've got one and two out the way. Now, like I said, these are equally as important. One is not as important as the other. They each must happen. So calorie surplus, training intensity, and there's one last thing we need to talk about, and that's sleep, rest, and recovery. So I think we all understand that when you go to the gym, your goal is to break down the muscle fibers, and they need to repair to get stronger. And what happens is, once those muscle fibers repair and they come back and they grow stronger, you're able to lift more weight. And when they grow stronger, they grow bigger, which is why your muscle grows. However, for some reason, we all neglect the fact that you actually need to rest in order to grow that muscle. And instead, we just train 6 days a week. And I think if we could, we'd all train 7 days a week. But if you know the simple fact that you only grow muscle when you rest, you know it's not the right play. So without putting that aside, just think, if you're training 6 days a week and you're only allowing 1 day for rest, are you really giving your body enough rest to grow muscle? Now, I understand why we do 6 days, because we think you're putting in more work and you're going to get more opportunities to grow stronger. But if you actually think about it, yes, you're stimulating the growth, which we talked about. You might even be eating on top of that, which is great. But when is the muscle going to grow if you're only giving it 1 day out of every 7 days? It doesn't make sense. So what you want to do is actually optimize your split for growth. And the way you do that is to train 3 to 4 days pretty hard. So say you're doing push-pull legs. I think everyone does push-pull legs. Just go for push-pull legs and arms and split that with a nice bit of rest period in between, rather than trying to do 6 days of push-pull legs in 1 week. It's not the right play. What you'll notice is that you only have 3 to 4 days, and you'll start to actually kind of savor those days. You'll think, shit, I've only got 3 to 4 days. So if I'm going to get the most out of this, I'm going to go harder. And that's exactly the way you should be thinking. 3 days of 100% intensity will always beat 6 days of 50% intensity, because that's what you're going to be doing. If you're spreading your training over 6 days, you're not going to be able to train as hard over a prolonged period of time. It's a fact. You wouldn't be able to lift the same weights consistently, especially when we get heavier and heavier. So make sure that you're bringing down your split and you're actually just increasing the intensity. So that's really, really important for you to understand. Alongside that, you need to think, when does muscle actually grow? It doesn't happen when you're eating. It doesn't happen when you're having a coffee. It doesn't happen when you're watching TV. It doesn't happen in a gym. When could it possibly happen? Think. When you sleep. So why do we neglect sleep and get 6 hours sleep when our goal is to grow muscle? If you sit down with yourself and you say, right, I want as much muscle as possible and I want to do it in the quickest time possible, how am I going to do it? It would be very logical to assume that sleep is going to be the thing we need to focus on. And it's absolutely right. Sleep is a literal steroid. And I think you can get just ahead of way more people in this world, because people sacrifice it. They think it's like a trend. It's cool. I can function on 6 hours sleep. Well, good for you. But the point is, 8.5 hours, which I always recommend, 8.5 to 9 hours will always get you ahead of most people. It's with your mental health. It's with the calorie side of things and the training. But let's just talk about training for one. So if you get 8 hours, you're going to get your percentage of deep sleep, which is where your muscle grows. You're going to get about 2 hours of deep sleep, and that's where you're going to grow the most amount of muscle. It's what you need to recover. So you want to be prioritizing that if you want to grow. Not only that, but it's going to boost your testosterone, and you're going to grow so much quicker, as opposed to someone who trains 6 days a week and then gets 4 hours sleep. Do you see what I mean? You're putting in the work, but you're not working smart. You're working hard, but you're not working smart. If you want to get far, you need to work smart. And that's what you do. You focus on the sleep, focus on the recovery. You can only build if you actually recover from it, very simply. So organize your split in a way where it allows for rest and recovery. You'll notice by bringing it down from 6 days, you'll have more time on your hands. So on your rest days, you can actually do the work or whatever you need to do that is stopping you from going to bed earlier. But understand that these all go hand in hand. One must happen with the other. Otherwise, everything fails. So I want you to literally audit all of these and understand it's a bit of a funnel. It starts with the intensity. It starts with stimulating enough growth. Once you've got that down, you then need to fuel the growth. And we do that for a surplus, We then need to allow the muscles to recover, and we do that through rest. If you have 2 out of these 3 and you don't have them down, you need to focus on getting all 3. Once you have that, you have the muscle building formula. That is literally that. There is nothing more to do. The only thing you can do is really increase your testosterone, and that comes down to eating cleaner foods here, getting the right supplements in, and focusing on your rest. But that's all it is. It all literally relates to these 3 points: training intensity, surplus, and rest. And if you genuinely just follow the 3 things I've talked about there and you just get them right, because I guarantee you probably don't have all of this down. It's probably your sleep. Everyone just neglects it. And I did for years. I now sleep 9 hours a day without fail. I grow a lot of fucking muscle pretty quickly because it's working smart, not hard, right? That's what you need to understand. And if you get this right, you will find it very, very hard to get yourself into plateaus where you're not gaining muscle. You will gain muscle very, very quickly, and it will keep happening over and over again. Only one exception I would make is maybe if you've got all of this down and you're still struggling to see growth, it might be because you need a little bit of deload week. So good practice is to have a deload week every 10 to 11 weeks, so maybe 2 months into training, just because you can't keep pushing the limits, especially if we've got intensity down and we're training to failure. It's going to be very difficult to keep doing that over and over again. It's like you're fighting a losing battle. So take one step backwards, take a week off, let your body recover, your central nervous system, and you'll notice that you actually get stronger. It's quite hard because we always want to keep pushing, but understand that when it comes to growing muscle, it's quality over quantity. You want the right form and you want to provide the best intensity to those exercises with the correct execution. You need to make sure your eating is right, and you need to make sure you're resting. And it might sound boring, but if your goal is to grow muscle, this is what you need to do. And it's that simple. So really quick video, and I just wanted to get that out there to anyone who's struggling. They don't, they might be a bit confused, misunderstanding kind of what needs to be done. However, that's all it is. If you get that formula right and you just keep doing that over a consistent period, you're sweet. That foundation, that's all you need. And once you understand that, you're golden. You're good to go. It took me years to learn this, but that's why I'm sharing it. I'm dropping the wisdom every single fucking day. And I hope someone takes this and just uses this. And then, like I said, send me a fucking transformation picture. Ask me a question on DM. I'll be happy to help you out. But yeah, just a quick video just to explain kind of what you need to do, what 3 things you need to focus on. And by the way, the only things you need to focus on. There's nothing more. That's all you do. If you can get that right, you're sweet. But yeah, that's everything for today. Any questions, comments, you know the drill. If you need a little bit of help and you need a bit of a push and you're struggling, feel free to DM me or click the link in my bio for some one-to-one coaching. I'm trying to help as many people as possible this year. So if you need any help, you know where to find me. But yeah, that's all for today. I will see you tomorrow. Going to do one on sleep because I want to show you exactly how to get that quality sleep in. But that'll be for tomorrow. So nice one, fellas. I will catch you on the next one.